Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 5 and my name is Murif Kulakis as the moderator and my group member Wahyudi, Rio Rahmat Alam, Nur Husfirati Hikmah, Anissa Alfarisa Muiz, dan Nur Fadillah. And we are going to present the material about teaching listening. And the first part is introduction will be presented by me. Introduction. Without effective listening skills, students will never communicate effectively either. In fact, more than 50% of the time students spend learning a foreign language by listening. Nevertheless, the ability to listen is often ignored or underestimated. Teachers should look for the simplest method of teaching listening to overcome its difficulties, such as teaching it effectively and to the teaching goal of listening successfully or successfully. This is because many teachers believe that listening is the most important skills of other language skills. Conclusion. Listening activities generally create anxiety and stress among students because they involve mode of interpersonal communicative and interpretation in which they must actively participate. In short, unlike other language skills, listening is beyond the learner's control because of the fluctuating speed of the speaker while communication. Thank you. Alright, that is for me, and the next material present by Rio Rahmat Alam. Rio Rahmat Alam, times is yours.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Rio Rahmat Alam from group 5 and I'm going to explain part A, which contains definition of listening. So the term listening that we talk about is listening. According to Kemerman 1996, listening is interpreted literally as paying attention that someone says. This comes from knowing how the words sound, what they mean, how they are put together in sentence and expression, and how to predict the meaning, and also the content of the message from other clues, such as tone of voice, facial expression, gestures, and body language. And then, according to another researcher, Bartes, 1985, listening is an interpretive action that a person performs to understand and potentially interpret something he hears. And in addition, listening comprehension requires listener to interpret all the message they hear and see from the speaker. Indeed, to know or realize the meaning of word, or listener use both their knowledge, namely vocabulary and grammar, where the background of their knowledge about message and special situation. In other words, the listening activity has at least three main purposes, namely the student have fluent pronunciation as spoken by native speakers in audio recording. They have an understanding of grammar. Finally, they have a lot of vocabulary. From the three definitions, it can be concluded that listening is a process where this is the first stage in the sequence of language learning, where this is to break the code that aims to produce accurately develop students' understanding of grammar and develop their own vocabulary. In order to know or understand the meaning of word, the listener use both vocabulary and grammar knowledge, supported by knowledge of message and special situations. In other words, effective listening means being able to understand language skill, and how language is used in various situations. That's communication skill. Okay, that's all from me. Give back to the moderator.
Alright, thank you from Rio. And the next material presented by Nurfadillah. Nurfadillah, times is yours.
So next, the purpose of teaching listening. The purpose of teaching listening is to enable students to understand native speech of English. The introduction of listening is very important for language learning. Listening is important because it is an ability to understand what other people say as a means of communication. Listening is the process of interpreting and understanding what we hear, as the for another purpose of listening is to obtain information that forms the basic for making decision on a topic, creating understanding between the listener and the speaker, and also a listener can know the truth of a message when he listens to a speaker. From this objective, it can be obtained that the stage of the listening process are participating, understanding, interpreting, responding, and remembering. Thank you.
Alright, thank you from Nurfadillah. And the next material presented by Wahyudi. Wahyudi, times is yours.
Well, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Wahyudi and I'm going to explain about challenge in English listening. In our paper, we have 3 challenges in teaching listening. Number 1 is the message, number 2 is the listener, and number 4 is the speaker. The first, I'm going to explain about the message. The message divided into 2 challenges. There are content and linguistic feature. Okay, in content, is usually not well organized. In many cases, the student cannot predict what the speaker is going to say. And number 2 is linguistic features. Conjunction and elision are common phenomena that make it difficult for students to distinguish or recognize individual words in the flow of speech. And the second challenge in teaching listening is the listener. Foreign language students usually speak more time reading than listening, and so even less express to the differences type of listening material. And number 2, or the last challenge in teaching listening, is the speaker. Students tend to get used to their teacher's accent or variation of standard British or American English. They are find difficult to understand the speaker with other accent. So when we teaching listening, many speakers that we always use in Indonesian, we always use American accent than British accent, because in Indonesian opinion, British accent more difficult than American accent, and this is the challenge for teacher to teach English. So that are 4 challenges in teaching English that I have explained.
Thank you from Wahyudi. And the next material presented by Anissa Alfarisa Muiz. Anissa Alfarisa, times is yours.
Hello everyone, my name is Anissa Alfarisa Muiz, and now I'm going to continue this section's explanation. So, teachers may assist students identify successful listening techniques by providing them with suitable listening resources, linguistic background and expertise, enabling abilities, pleasant classroom environments, and meaningful tasks. Among the solutions include analyzing hearing material based on the student's level, devising task-oriented exercises, offering diverse inputs, locating visual aids, and practicing liaisons and elisions. The most important details are to make students aware of different accents, to select short and simple listening texts, to provide background and linguistic knowledge, to provide direct feedback, and to assist students in developing listening skill with anticipation, listening specifically to information, listening to the gist, interpretation, and inference. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you from Anissa Alfarisa Muiz, and the last material presented by Nur Husfirati Hikmah. Nur Husfirati, times is yours.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. In the solution in teaching listening, there are three parts here, which is the message, the listener, and the speaker. In the message, evaluate listening and material according to the student's level and provide authentic material instead of filtered and idealized samples. Next, which is design task-oriented exercises to engage student interest and help them learn unconscious listening skill. Also, provide various inputs to student. Try to find visual aids or draw and diagram related to listening topics to help students guess or imagine actively. For the listener, provide background knowledge and linguistic knowledge. Give and try to get as much as feedback as possible, helping students develop listening skill with anticipation. The last, which is the speaker. Take focus to practice liaisons and elisions to help students get used to the acoustic form of fast natural speech. Make students aware of different accents of native speakers. Also choose short and simple listening texts with little redundancy for lower level students and complex authentic material with more redundancy for advanced students.
Okay, thank you from Nur Husfirati Hikmah, and the last from me, and the conclusion for this material. Conclusion is listening activities generally create anxiety and stress among students because they involve modes of interpersonal communication and interpretation in which they must actively participate. In short, unlike other language skills, listening is beyond the learner's control because of the fluctuating speed of the speaker while communication. Thanks for the attention, and that is from group 5. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.